What's going on, everybody? This is Afro Think Tank. I'm glad to see black people fighting against FBA ADOS in this xenophobic hate group sponsored by white supremacy. Now, there's a lot of people that tell me, all right, ignore FBA. Ignore them. They're fools. They're idiots. Ignore them. They're just haters. Keep doing what you're doing. Listen, that's a mistake. You cannot ignore them. As insignificant as their ideas are, their active criminal ignorance is very significant. We cannot be quiet. You see, in Germany, the German citizens were quiet when a fringe group of Nazis started spewing their xenophobic, hateful, racist rhetoric. No one took them seriously because there was a fringe party, a fringe group of people who wanted to delineate because of their race, who wanted to be the top white person, who wanted to be special Europeans. No one took them seriously until what happened? When you are quiet, that's when the bad guy wins. When you are complacent, that's when the bad guy wins. We black people cannot be complacent. You see, the reason why all these groups are being deployed right now is because Pan-Africanism is working and having tangible results. You must understand, white people do not want African Americans to unite with Africans. That is the worst thing that can possibly happen to global white supremacy is African Americans uniting with Africans. They have stated this. Governments, the Israeli government has stated that this is their number one priority because we are their number one enemy. This is the number one thing they need to stop. They cannot allow the richest, most influential group of black people who happen to be American citizens and have access to the American government and American economic system, who have the ability to infiltrate and hold power within Americans. They cannot have African Americans unite with a continent that has all the world's resources. African people united in America have the ability to change America's foreign policy. Do you understand that? And they know America's sentiment. They know African American sentiment. You see, if African Americans were in charge, our foreign policy would fundamentally change. It would be more positive towards African countries. We would have a more mutual, beneficial relationship. We would have a more positive relationship with the Middle East. A more mutual, beneficial relationship. We African Americans have no animosity towards China. We would have a more mutual and beneficial relationship. We wouldn't mind having a multipolar world where positions of power is spread around the globe, because we are not world conquerors by nature. We are not world dominators. We don't all want to be Caesar. We want equity. That's it. And if we had the keys to the American machine, we would make that reality happen. And that is the opposite of what global white supremacy wants. They are doing everything they can, including deploying their contractors like Tariq Nasheed, Yvette Carnell, and Antone. They're deploying every agent they have right now to slow down the inevitable. Africa is rising and African people are rising. Do you understand? African Americans, just by ourselves, okay, have more spending power than most European countries. We are rich. Now, they like to say our population is low, but somehow we're overly represented in the media. How can 15% of America's population have such political power? Look what we did to Target. You telling me 15%, a meager 15, they like to bounce back between 13 and 15. You telling me a little meager 13 to 15% of a supposed group of people that's supposed to be at the bottom of the economic ladder, you telling me we got that much economic power? Somebody's lying. Either there's more African Americans in America than they want to admit, or we're richer and more successful than they want to admit, or it's somewhere in between. Every time you turn on the TV, you see who? Us. Every time you see something happen, in one state, one of the police commissioners, one of the FBI directors, one of the CIA coordinators is black. Every time you hear something happen overseas with some troop die, at least one of them is black. How is that 15% of America's population of black people are so spread out, but we seem to represent in every facet of an American society everywhere globally? Somebody is lying. The same way they try to lie and say Africa was sparsely populated until just recently. That's always been bullshit. The same way they say Europeans were 30% of the global population. That's always been bullshit, because they've been having the hardest time keeping themselves alive. And one thing after another, constant, continuous wars that they have in Europe, on top of famines because they don't have proper hygiene practices, dying in the middle. Remember, Europe lost half their population like twice. just being unhygienic. And then they lost their population several more times, fighting each other in endless wars. Tribalism, right? And then how many times have they tried to take us out? They tried to take out with that man-made, manufactured biological weapon of AIDS. Didn't work. They tried to genocide us. Didn't work. They enslaved us. Didn't work. Nothing they do can stop the rise of the black person. But that doesn't mean they're going to stop. They're even going extinct due to the hands of their own. Because of their policies, they're not even having babies. They're on their way out, and they're going to scorch earth policy. If they can't have it, nobody can have it. That means we need to take power. That means we can't be susceptible to these goddamn tricks that they're playing by getting the uneducated amongst us to fight each other. African Americans and Africans and Caribbeans are unifying. And you see the Caribbeans, all right, are a great success story because after they was enslaved, somehow they managed to take over the entire islands. We've actually, like Monopoly, we've actually taken position in the world, you got to understand. And once one of those dominoes fall, the rest gonna fall. We got the Caribbean. We can take portions of South America. We can definitely take America. We already proven that we can reach the highest levels of office when Barack Obama became the president. That was the canary in the coal mine for them. They even got black people going against Barack Obama somehow. Like he didn't just save the world economy after having an inept president called Bush. Like he didn't have a whole bunch of white politicians making sure that he couldn't get anything done. Right? Y'all forget, that was one black man against an entire white supremacist government. And he did the best that he could. And he created some of the policies that we all love today, that y'all tried to make fun of. Talking about Obama phones and Obama healthcare. Because you love that Obama healthcare. And all of y'all love those Obama phones, giving the community the ability to communicate for free. But y'all made fun of it. Obama is the one who made a successful deal with Iran, something no other president could do. He did that. He accomplished that. A black man. Only for a white supremacist to come in and ruin it and start a whole goddamn war that's currently affecting everybody right now. So listen, we cannot fall for the psyop. I'm going to keep pushing this. And everybody else who's a Pan-African going to keep pushing this. Because Pan-Africanism means global black unity. It cannot be stopped. Now, the global white unity is going to try. But they're going to fail because people like me and others are going to make sure we keep pushing. Don't stay quiet. Because when a silent majority allows a loud minority to say what they want to say, do what they want to do, that's when that small, loud minority wins. No. Speak up, be loud, be boisterous, and say that shit with your chest. Anyway, tell me what you think in the comment section. It's Afro Think Tank. Learn some, teach some. I'm out.
So, check this out. Y'all remember that in the past 3 years, a lot of African Americans be talking about moving back to Africa. As a matter of fact, a lot of African Americans actually went to certain countries in Africa to obtain citizenship. You know, countries like Ghana and all of that was giving free citizenship out to African American. And this move kind of made, you know, a lot of African Americans want to move to Africa, right? And boom, this whole bullshit about FBAs and the Africans came up. This shit came up from nowhere. But nobody's been able to sit back and think about this. And the worst part of it is when you go online, when you see these crazy comments in the post. For example, when you make a post, you see these faceless profiles jumping in, making comment, antagonizing the whole comment section and stuff like that. You be thinking it's fellow black people. You be thinking it's FBAs. Those are not FBAs. Those are people that are planted to cause this problem. They are the ones who actually started the problems, and they're still in there igniting them. But a lot of black people are playing into their hands. That's what black people need to figure out. Because this whole situation, this whole issue about the FBAs and the Africans, there was no beef between both parties until African Americans started, moving to Africa, going back to Africa to obtain citizenship and all of that. And they saw this as a threat. They saw this as a problem. They saw this as an avenue for black people to unite. And they wanted to destroy it. And that's exactly what they're doing. But guess what? A lot of our people are playing into it. Whose fault is that? Who's being stupid? We or them? I'll let y'all answer that.
If you're in an FBA or ADOS cult, you can do more with your time than having genealogical pissing contests. Y'all are right-wing black folks who have nothing because your history is actively being stripped from you. And your identity is wrapped into who your ancestors used to be, but not who you are. What do you have? What do you own? Please point me to the nearest FBA or ADOS hospice. Please point me to the nearest ADOS or FBA chain of grocery stores. Don't have that, huh? Are you housing our folk? Do y'all have ADOS, FBA farmland, condominium, apartment complex, a tent, something? Your divisiveness is your short-sightedness because this black American understands that Pan-Africanism is what's going to get us liberated and free. Knowing that Malcolm X had Caribbean roots, Marcus Garvey had immigrant roots, W.E.B. Du Bois was buried in Ghana, and whether from Kwame Ture to Assata Shakur, the black radical tradition always stood behind the black diaspora as a whole. And oh, that red and black flag that a lot of y'all like to wear in your profile, not you because you're probably a bot. My great uncle, Robert Bobby Stewart from Elizabeth, New Jersey, made the prototype for that. Genealogy, these...
You'd rather set out your global family for some crumbs that will never liberate you. I'm not saying don't give me my money. But what I am saying is that ain't going to free you, liberate you, or bring about African sovereignty. I think we have to go back into really studying some real thinkers.
And how the fuck I'm experiencing xenophobia when I'm not even from a different country? They in my comments talking about some go back to your country. We don't need your opinions. We don't need your opinions. Our people been fighting forever. No, y'all ain't did shit. My mother was actually part of the first integrated schools in Cleveland, Ohio. Yeah. They was throwing rocks at her, calling her the N-word. I grew up hearing the stories. I've been radicalized. Y'all can't radicalize me. Motherfucker, this shit in my blood. My grandmother on my father's side was born on a plantation. Her mother was born on a plantation. Her mother was born on a plantation. I know my history and my heritage. My grandmother moved to the Washington, D.C. in the 50s when there was a bunch of migration of black people moving up to Washington, D.C. And it became Chocolate City. And she raised 10 kids in Washington, D.C. And all my aunts and my older cousins, they on their 60s and their 70s, they be in my comment section telling me how proud they am that I'm highlighting our culture and our heritage of Washington, D.C. being Chocolate City. My whole family was raised. My grandmother raised 10 kids and all her kids had kids. There's 100 of us in Washington, D.C. This motherfucking culture run deep. My family been here for 70 years in D.C. And my family been in South Carolina for hundreds of years. I don't know what the fuck y'all talking about. And it really shows how ignorant and hateful you are for you to come in my comment section talking about some go back to your country. We don't need you here. We don't want you here. You motherfuckers think you know everything. You motherfuckers hate. Shut the fuck up. And even if I was an immigrant, I support the immigrants. If I went out there and protested for just immigration, even if black people wasn't also being affected, and I just went out there and protested just because I support my black brothers and sisters around the whole diaspora, then so fucking be it, nigga. You niggas are some weirdos. That's showing how much hate you got in your fucking heart. And I got people making videos of me talking about some, oh, you see, he's a divester. What the fuck are you talking about? Y'all learn words and just be chatting. He follows Imani B and Afeni. I follow them because they do a lot for local municipalities. They going hard in them streets. In PG County in Washington, D.C. Y'all don't be doing shit. Y'all be talking about my ancestors did this, my ancestors did that. And then all the progress from all of your ancestors stops today because this generation is some lazy pieces of shit that's living off the privilege off the backs of their fucking grandparents. Yeah, get off my meat, young. And I'm not saying none of this shit to prove that I'm black. I really don't give a fuck what your opinion of me and my blackness is. But I'm saying this because I'm proud of my culture and my heritage and how far we came in the fight that my grandmother had to put in just to come up north to raise her children in a better environment. My mother being raised in that integrated school where they were treating her like shit for her to go and get her bachelor's degree and her master's degree and ignore all of the motherfucking smoke, ignore all of the noise in a PWI college, and then move down to Washington, D.C. in the Washington, D.C. area and raise 2-3 kids. Yes, I'm proud of my family. Y'all motherfuckers is weird.
Let's talk about why the whole FBA, foundational Black American concept, is stupid. It's also divisive, toxic, and holding the entire Black community back. Yeah, I said it. At its core, FBA tries to gatekeep Blackness. In a nutshell, it basically says that only enslaved Black Americans and their descendants can reap the benefits of being Black because they built this country, and everyone else here is just riding the wave. But here's the thing: all Black people have contributed to the struggle, the progress, and the culture. Whether you're Caribbean, African, Afro Latinx, or American born. When someone is anti Black, they don't check your ancestry history before attacking you. FBA logic ignores how deeply connected our global Black history is. Pan Africanism exists for a reason. The civil rights movement didn't just inspire people in America, it sparked a global movement. The South African anti apartheid movement was inspired by the American civil rights movement. Civil rights leaders like Martin Luther King Jr. deeply influenced anti apartheid leaders such as Nelson Mandela and Desmond Tutu. The nonviolent resistance tactics used by U.S. civil rights activists were studied in the African National Congress and employed by Nelson Mandela and others. The U.S. student led protests and boycotts in the 1980s, like the divestment campaign that was created in order to demand companies in the U.S. to stop divesting in South Africa because of apartheid. Those campaigns and protests also drew inspiration from the 1960s civil rights sit-ins. In the United Kingdom, there was a Black British movement. The British Black Panthers, who were founded in 1968, were directly inspired by the US Black Panther Party. The Brixton uprisings in the 1980s were fueled by similar issues: police brutality, racial profiling, and economic inequality. Meanwhile, independence movements in both Africa and the Caribbean also lit fires under anti racism efforts here in the US. The Haitian Revolution, which took place from 1791 to 1804, was the world's first successful Black republic. It had long inspired African Americans from the abolitionist period all the way through to modern Black nationalism. And then there's Marcus Garvey and Pan Africanism. Garvey's Universal Negro Improvement Association, based in Jamaica and Harlem, laid early foundations for global Black pride, influencing later leaders like Malcolm X and even the Nation of Islam. And Ghana's independence under Kwame Nkrumah energized the Pan-African movement. Martin Luther King even attended the independence ceremony and was inspired to push harder for full freedom in the US. Ghana even became a symbolic spiritual home for African Americans. W.E.B. Du Bois moved there in his final years. Not to mention, the global Black Power movement from Brazil to the UK to South Africa adopted symbols, styles, and ideologies that cross borders, like the afro, the raised fist, and radical liberation rhetoric. We've always fed off of each other's resistance and strength. Divide that up, and we lose power. Malcolm X, Caribbean roots. Shirley Chisholm, born to Caribbean immigrants. Nipsey Hussle, an Eritrean father. Rihanna, Bob Marley, Marcus Garvey. Y'all would have canceled them all under FBA rules. So please make that make sense. The real goal here should be dismantling white supremacy, not competing for trauma points. FBA ends up sounding a lot like the same anti-immigrant rhetoric we claim to hate. And ironically, it does the work for the oppressor. Keep Black folks distracted, arguing over lineage, while systematic racism keeps winning. As a people, we need unity, not purity tests. Your Blackness isn't invalid because your grandparents weren't born in Mississippi, and being pro-Black doesn't mean being anti-immigrant or anti-Black immigrant. FBA is not revolutionary, it's reactionary, it's divisive, and honestly, it doesn't serve us. I mean, what have we used the FBA rules to accomplish as Black Americans? Tell me, what have we used that rhetoric and that concept to accomplish? Absolutely nothing. And it's time we leave that mess behind, y'all. And honestly, FBA is just as damaging as that disgusting Not Like Us song. I mean, it did the same type of damage. One group dividing itself and making people believe that if you didn't experience this type of Black culture, then your Black is invalid. FBA does the exact same thing. Yeah, so anywho, y'all let me know when y'all are ready to build as a community instead of going back and forth in circles, creating new concepts that make absolutely no sense but are completely divisive to our community. You let me know when.
Remember when everyone, for a brief few years, we were all interested in each other's culture and history, and people wanted to try each other's food, and people wanted to learn more about where other people were coming from. I miss that.
FBA niggas are anti-black because you need to listen to some of the shit that these niggas be saying. Like, I understand that, Africans, bro, they're annoying. A lot of them are annoying because they disrespect black Americans, and I'm not excusing that. But you niggas are quite literally no better than them. Like, y'all have the same fucking talking points. Like, bro, if you read FBA comments under videos about how immigrants treat black Americans, these niggas say some of the most anti-black shit. Like, you niggas might as well just start calling them African booty scratchers again. Like, I swear to God, you niggas are childish, and it's annoying as fuck.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such an extent that you bleach? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Before you come asking Mr. Muhammad, does he teach hate, you should ask yourself, who taught you to hate being what God gave you?
Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! Free Sudan! Boycott diamonds and gold! We most definitely cannot forget about the people of Sudan!
Thanks for watching Afro Think Tank. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. And follow me on Substack and Patreon for more content. Remember, it's Pan-Africanism or nothing.